whereas sex positivity is like anal all the time, yeah, sluts and f***ing and golden showers.
Welcome back, everybody. This is another great episode of Over the Weekend. It's been so long that I've traveled the country. I traveled through three continents, and I'm back home, able to continue the greatness that I've been doing. And what I want to do is bring on somebody that I actually have been looking at for a little bit of time now, and I know there's a story that has to be told. So I brought this gentleman on the show, actually. We have Mr. Tim Lagman here. He actually has over 4 years of a little bit of adult work. He's been a little bit of escorting back in the past. And now he's actually he did 3 years of business school, graduating with honors, ching ching. And on top of that too, that he now brought both of those things together. So he actually went and became a sex educator, launching a podcast called Sex with Tim, going on his 4th season, over 100 episodes. And I want to know how that came to be. I also want to know him as in general. And I guess we can throw it on to you, man, Mr. Tim. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thank you so much for having me, Jamal. Let's see. I don't even know where to start because I'm trying to condense this story as much as I can. But essentially what happened was I went to forensic science school first. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I really don't like it. I couldn't handle it. I didn't have the stomach for it. And then I took some time off to really figure out what I wanted to do. And then I found myself working at the Gap.
Yeah.
So there was a store here is the Gap at Bay and Bloor, and that was like the flagship store. It shut down very recently. But anyways, so I was at the Gap and I was in the sort of like the back. I put that in quotes, right? Like doing inventory. And then there was this girl. Her name was Ashley. I don't know if that was her real name. That's what it said on her lapel thingy. And then she was like, I only do this just to feel like somewhat normal. And then she told me that she's a pimp. So I was like, oh shit. Okay, what is that? And then, we kind of got to talking, and this was a time when I still identified as bisexual, which is to say that we had sex. And then after we had sex, she was like, do you want to be on my team? And I was like, oh, team? What does that mean? It's like, yeah, I'll send you clients and you can say yes or no. And you're free to just, work your magic. And I was like, okay, great. Amazing. So I did that for around 4 years, but 3 out of those 4 years I was escorting and doing business. So I went to school for business management, and then at one point, I think it was my last year of school, where I had to do school full time, an internship, a part-time job, and I was escorting. So I was spreading myself out really, really thin.
No pun intended.
Yeah, like my legs, right? So I was like, you know what? Something's got to give. I really got to give something up because this is just too fucking much. And it was the music business industry, so that's even harsh.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't just keep going back and forth from Oshawa to Toronto. And for those listening, that's like a 40-minute drive at best.
Oh, yeah.
Fucked up. And then I was like, you know what? I got to give up escorting. And Ashley was totally fine with it. She totally understood. And from there, I was like, okay, I also don't like the music business. It's a lot of ass kissing. I fucking hate it. I took a vacation in New York with my friend who I've been meaning to reunite with a long time. And she and I were at a Starbucks. And just as we got our frappuccinos from the barista and sat down, non sequitur, totally random, out of the blue, she goes, "Hey Tim, you're gay." what do you know about anal? And I was like, mm, I don't know if that's homophobic, but thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
Thanks for, doing that. So, what turned out to be a very innocent question because she wanted to have anal with her boyfriend was like the start of my passion because when I was giving a lecture, sort of like a lecture, it kind of like lit a fire under my ass. And I was like, oh, okay, I actually like talking about this and teaching it. So I was researching how do I combine my skills in business plus my skills as an escort and put it all into one career. And then I came to the title of sex educator. It's like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. How do I get started? It's very entrepreneurial. And then I started going to some classes online and started doing a lot of like research on how to launch a sex ed business, how to market yourself. And jump forward to 2024. I am now a podcaster, an award nominated podcaster, if I may add.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I run my own sex education practice where I do parties, lectures, guest speaking. And I'm also like a pole dancer. So I teach the art of eroticism through movement. And last but not least, I am also working for charity where I teach high school kids about HIV and AIDS and how to best protect yourself during sex. So that's essentially the gamut of my career with regards to sex.
Yeah, so you basically have your hand in all the right pots basically at this point.
My
And
fist in all the right holes.
yeah, exactly. This in all the
Yep.
right holes, eyes on all the right prizes, and
Hmm.
maybe a little bit of people. The question truly is, I actually thought personally that the sex ed was a course that you took. So I didn't know that it was legitimate business management.
Yeah, so sex education is like I guess in some colleges and universities, they'll title it as human sexuality studies, which I guess is kind of that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right. And I don't hate on it. My only issue with that is there's only so much that you can learn from a textbook, but you compare that to real life experience, then it's like, you know, academia versus, street smarts.
Yeah.
So I had more street smarts than I had academia, but I also had like my business background to run the business, right? So here I am.
Yeah, you literally put them all together. And I mean, when you put it all together, you actually do something you love. So realistically, you're not working at all. You're just doing the thing. Just doing the do. Just doing the do. And doing the
Hmm.
do is exactly what you need to
Doing it.
do.
Hmm.
So I guess that is your mission statement then. It's just fucking do it, basically.
Yeah, do it. Do it raw. Do it protected. Do it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking do it. Some people in this world just think they want, and it doesn't go anywhere really. Like
Yeah.
I actually I go to sometimes I go to a few Soho House events, and I kind of like the idea of going to the events because everybody that's there are all creative people, and they all are people that are in their craft. They're not, the friend that's like, for me, I guess you can say specifically, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna be a rapper. Okay, I'm gonna be a DJ. Great. Do you have any music? No, but I mean, I'm gonna be one day. I promise you. I promise you, I'm gonna produce something, and
SoundCloud does not count.
yeah, exactly, buddy. You need to be actually real. But it is what it is when it comes to it. At this point now, you even have even more merits. Like I know the merit of over 2,000 partners. I think with that, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay,
That's
so
counting.
that is like somewhat of a baseline ballpark
Okay,
number
okay.
because I used to do this kind of semi-toxic thing where I would count the number of people that I fucked, or rather not count, but like log what my sexual experience
Long.
was. Yeah, it's a literal log. And now I've moved on to like sending them a survey and then just letting it gather there. uh, and I would just like, the moment we finish fucking, I'll be like, Okay, forgot his name. Just like, physical description. Was it good? Should I do it again? And then it was literally just those three columns. And then on my Google Sheets, I last saw, and this was like updated probably 2018. I can't remember, but I last recall like the row count was like
Yeah.
around 2000. So
And that's when you're like, you know what? I think I finally can retire this
I
booklet.
can stop.
Retire
I
this
can
booklet.
probably stop
Right?
because who's gonna remember anything after that?
Well, I mean, realistically, it's that kind of reminds me of the episode of Black Mirror. Remember the if you haven't seen it, actually, there's an episode that everybody is rated by like your sexual preference, your gender
Yeah,
preference. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Bryce Dallas Howard is like, Instagram rating 4 stars each. Yeah, yeah. I
Exactly.
remember
Right
that.
before you fucking leave the elevator, like, come on
Yep.
now. Yeah, I had a good time with you then. Yeah, I met you for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would
Well,
not be I don't want to be in that reality where like, oh my God, you rate me 1 star. I'm gonna die. Like,
exactly. I'm gonna fucking die. And then you just make it worse. Make it worse by literally doing exactly what you're doing.
no,
Like,
no,
just
fuck
accept
that.
it, take it, let life
Yeah.
move on.
No, no, miss me with that.
So, if you have like, do you happen to have back in the day, did you have like a procedure before meeting up with these clients or these people? Because, there must be some type of like, sounds like you do a lot of lists. So there must be some type of criteria before
An
hanging out and
intake
seeing these
form.
guys. Yeah. Please sign this
So
release paper.
because I was working with a pimp, she would be the one to do all the intake and like, she asks all the questions and then just sends them my way. And I have the option to say yes or no. And some of the other kind of like questions I'd ask are like, are you into a fetish or a kink that you want to engage in? Is there something that I should know? Like, are you allergic to latex or a certain kind of lube? Things like that. Those are fine. And like I kind of just work from there. I try to make it like as streamlined and simple as
Yeah.
possible because something to note is that my clients were like the upper echelon of Toronto. So NDAs left and right. It's
Yeah.
just I really can't talk and say names about these people, but like I can talk about the experience of it.
Yeah.
I just can't disclose what they are. And they may or may not be related to a big cable company that rhymes with raw.
See, as no secrets are kept, don't worry. But guess what? We are here. And man, you made it. I'm very happy to hear this whole story right now because I was actually prepared and waiting to hear what this you had to say when it came to basically the life of being in the field that you're being in, especially the education portion, because it's just, I want to know. People always have questions, people always want to know things, but they don't, they ask their friend, for example. I'm going to ask my cousin, like, what do you think about this? And that's just their kind of their bias, right? It's not an unbiased opinion. It's not an educated opinion. It's just, oh, I don't like that girl. I don't like that guy. So they then have a little bit of that person in them and they continue their life with that. It's kind of like the theory of you're the five people that are around you are the medium, you are the medium of the five people that are around you, essentially. And I want to be able to basically break that bond and be like, I'm my own person, you're your own person. Like, laws were made by the entrepreneurial people, anyways. We usually do our own thing and we make our own life.
I am that glue. I feel like, I surround myself with the same kinds of people. And I've had this discussion with other sex educators before that like, like attracts like. It's that same energy because, you know, when you're a slut, you're going to find other sluts. We're kindred spirits. We're cut from the same cloth. And it's just, we start to kind of form this bubble almost that like, oh, we talk about sex so normally. Like I talk about fisting like I just bought a new Rolex, right? Like, and then it just like doesn't process. It doesn't like register in my brain as an unusual topic. And I'll have that phone conversation on the streetcar and somebody will look at me all weird as if I just like killed
Stab
someone.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I was like, did I just say something offensive? No, fisting, piss play, golden shower. No, I don't think so. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
no.
that's not something that regular people talk about openly in public.
Well, people like them, anyways, that's the guy that looks this, that's the guy that has probably not smoked weed ever in his life, that probably drinks, once a week. And I can assure you they haven't been out and done anything crazy because I promise you, I've been to fucking Paris, buddy. I've been to fucking Paris. And when I mean Paris, I mean, I've done the Eiffel Tower. I've done shit that make me think, you know what? This is actually like, I'm the center of attention. It's just great to be here right now. But if it's like a monogamous thing, one and one, you usually don't get that feeling, or at least you get a more generic feeling, and that could be an issue how and why people want more. So it clearly appears to say the stigma around, talking like that and being like that. How do you remove that from a person?
Literally keep talking about it. Because stigma is, by definition, negative attitudes and beliefs towards something, someone. But the more you talk about it and the more you laugh about it, the more normal it starts to seem, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, I talk about sex 24/7, sometimes to the point where talking about getting railed is so like not hot to me anymore because it's basically like talking shop, right? So uh it's even come to the point where if I'm fucking a guy and then he accidentally like shits himself, but he's worried about it, and I was like, okay, and what's the big
Yeah,
deal?
I've done it. It's happened.
Yeah,
Like,
just like I've got baby wipes, I'm gonna wipe myself off. Do you want to keep going? Like it's just so like mundane to me at this point that I feel like people need to catch up. And like it does speak to the culture of sex negativity plus the fight for sex positivity. And sex negativity is like, I don't want to talk about sex. I think it's taboo. I think it's gross. Don't ever, you should keep that in your room. Whereas sex positivity is like anal all the time. Fuck yeah, sluts and fisting and golden showers.
yeah.
But whereas I'm like anal, HIV, piss play, fisting, cock and ball torture, it's so
Talk about
matter.
torture.
Yeah, it's
Favorite.
so matter of fact, right? Like I'm so neutral about it, and maybe that's the sweet spot that we all need to aim for. That it's just like talking about the weather.
Yeah. And I'm sure once we get to that point, I think it requires us to do that, as you said, to just keep on talking about it until somebody decides, you know what, just like hot sauce or just like anything in this world, it's like, you know what, maybe I want to try it. And that's when, once again, more of our us come in because we then go and we help them and speak to them about it. I'm hoping for that. This is a praying for it. This is a praying for it.
You and me both, Jamal. You and me both.
You say that do you happen to have like a best friend that that's like a go-to person to always speak about this, always have a conversation with, like a diehard human being that will always be able to bring you up in this world when times like this, like right now, get pretty gray.
Yeah. My best friend, her name's Anna. She and I have been besties since high school. This girl is so fucking real. She keeps me grounded. And she keeps me humble. Sometimes when I get too big for my britches, she'll be like, Tim, you're not that great. And I'm like, no, you're right.
You're right. Thank you.
You're right. Thank you so much. I need like that ego destroyed. And she's actually on my
I
episode.
just gonna
Yeah.
say that actually.
Yeah. For those of you listening, the episode on my podcast is called You've Got Mail, Male, because jokes. And she was like the best. That was her first time ever coming on the show and first time ever being on any podcast. And the way we tore into all of the people writing in with their problems, we were like,
Yeah.
are we going to be rude and give horrible advice, or are we genuinely going to be helpful? But she's a Cancer. She's nurturing and motherly. So yeah, she did. Whereas I'm the one that's like, you know what? Fuck you and your Midwestern white boy nonsense. Get out of
Yeah,
here.
right. I'm actually I always have to put it in that I'm a first week tourist. So I feel that the what I'm what the attitude that I bring is strictly from that, like the hard, stern personality, guy that always has pride and always wants to go after things. But at the same time, I don't know any of my other horoscopes or any of my other signs. I have people that always ask me, they're like, what's your moon?" And
Sure.
I'm like, "Yeah, I wish I knew. Like, I wish I knew."
Yeah. Find yourself a birth chart, enter your birthday, the time you were born, and the location, and then you'll probably get like a fuller picture. I'm an Aquarius sun with a Pisces moon, Pisces rising, and I'm very like out of this world thinking, which is why I think that I fit into the sex educator profile because Aquarius is they think of the underdog and the Pisces is like, they think with their hearts and they feel and they empathize. So I do find that sort of space for astrology and sex education. I actually have another episode all about like astrology and sex education and like how some signs could be compatible, some may not, but it's all about working together.
And then being together.
But Taurus, man, that's like an earth sign. You're
Yeah.
like fixed in your ways and I mean, this is a Taurus stereotype, but very materialistic. You love physical things. You love to have stuff.
Well, I think I'm like half and half when it comes to it for sure. Because I actually lost my phone when I was in Colombia.
Ah,
So two
no.
weeks without my cell phone for the first 3 4 days, I was
I
like,
would
dude,
die.
yeah,
I
I
would
was
die.
like, what am I gonna do with my life right now?
I'd
It's
rather be
not.
waterboarded. Ugh.
I just I decided to figure it out somehow through just walking around and actually talking to people. And eventually, I decided, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this cell phone anymore.
Fuck
And then I
this.
came back to Canada and I got another one. So
Good.
we're back. So we're back.
Love it. Taurus.
I actually read this is we already spoke about this earlier. This is the story of all stories that I need to know. Put it in the email before the pre-email that I sent you. And it had to do with the Queen and Spadina McDonald's. Every single one of my friends were like, dude, this is the fucking story. This is the guy. And I'm
Did you
like,
show
okay,
your
right.
friends my intake
I
form?
didn't show him the intake. I was like, dude, I'm gonna have this guy on my podcast, and let me tell you this. He fucked in a Queen's Banana McDonald's, and he was like, "This nigga is in." Like, he's got some more stories than we have. We're some fucked up people.
Okay, like I'm gonna be real, it's not that deep with that story. I literally was just horny and hungry and I was in the
All at
area
once.
and yeah. And I just happened to be a Queen of Spadina. And for those of you that are not in Toronto, Queen of Spadina has a very
Notorious.
notorious reputation, right? Like honestly, kudos to the staff of Queen of Spadina McDonald's
No,
because
the
you
Lord's
guys,
work.
yeah, like y'all can probably do much better crowd control than the police. Like, honestly, like warriors, better than the ones overseas. Fuck them. But, anyways, the question in your intake form was like, what makes you feel like your best self or whatever? And I wrote down, trying out new things, my best friend, and getting railed raw at the Queen of Spadina McDonald's. I wrote that as a bit of a joke, but also I am very like, that is part of who I am, trying out new things. I am a little risky and I guess I was just very much drawn to like the possibility of getting caught. So
Yeah, Voyager.
yeah, like I'm very much that voyeur and a little bit of a exhibitionist. So I was like, you know what? Let me open Grinder. Let me see. Oh, and then this guy, really cute. He was like close to Kensington Market. I'm like, great. I'm like by here right now. There's nobody at Queen Spadina. Do you just want to go? He's like, yeah, I can't host, and neither can you. So We just went
Yeah,
into
you showed a
the
good spot. You showed
yeah,
location.
exactly. Went into the bathroom and then fucking went for it.
See, and then people think the same. They'll think like, "Oh man, you should never do that." And these are the same people that go to a music festival and then have sex in the bathroom, or the same people that complain about having sex in a tent. They're like, "Bro, it's hot," and I'm like, "Dude, you know what's hot? The action is happening in there and not out here." So let's get this fucking straight right now.
I will be real. Don't do it. It's fucking gross. It's just so
Yeah.
I feel I needed to take a shower. I was like, burn all my clothes,
Burn
disinfect
all
my
the girls,
entire
pap
skin.
smear test.
Yeah, honestly, like give me every single shot known to man, even for things that I don't have, right?
Just in case.
So yeah, like give me all the vaccines. I don't fucking care. I can't believe I did this at Queen and Spadina. So, uh, but hey, you know what? No hate to the ones who are like, let's go, chop chop.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get to business. These are the people that make the world go round, buddy. Not the people that slow down and get a small fucking prize. You always
Yeah,
want a big prize.
yeah.
Big prize.
God, give me that McFlurry.
Exactly. What type of McFlurry do you choose?
Ooh, score,
Score, son of a bitch.
score. Why?
Because I'm so into like I'm so into the Smarties and because it just I feel
Boo.
it. I maybe I'm a Starbucks basic, I guess, when it comes to when it comes to asking and saying that.
That's such a basic answer. The Smarties, McFlurry. Nah,
If
the
there's
wired, the
if there's
wired guys.
Reese's, then get me in. If
Okay,
there's
yeah.
Reese's,
Actually, you know what? The real ones with their third eye open will go to Dairy Queen for the Reese's Blizzard.
yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
that's where it
Real ones
hits.
only. Real ones
Yeah,
only.
the one at Kennedy
Last
and
time I was with my
Ellesmere.
mom.
Oh,
Ching. Yes, actually. Yeah, actually. The one that's like right after, like right
yeah,
after you take a turn. And
yep,
that one, once again, doing the Lord's work. They're just
yeah,
hanging out there almost all year round too.
yeah.
In
They've been
Montreal,
around forever.
in Quebec, it's crazy. In Quebec all around. I think they close in November.
Rest
So
in
it was
peace.
because it's fucking cold, right? So why the hell would they be open? But they have like 50% off on the last day and they fucking just clean up shop every
Ooh,
single time, empty. So back in my day when I used to live in Montreal, I used to go there on the last day with my mom, like my mother and my brother, and we'd just buy a whole bunch of ice cream. We'd probably buy like $50 worth of ice cream and it would last the whole year. Like fucking three ice cream
oh,
cakes, like 10 fucking, what do they call them? Ice cream bars, basically.
oh
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
like three Oreo parfaits, and I just fucking leave it inside the freezer. Just whenever
Oh,
you need it. Like,
oh, what? Now I'm
yeah,
gonna
right?
have to go to Dairy Queen after this
Not my
interview.
fault. It's not my fault. So yeah, when it comes to it, is your mindset on this podcast before the pandemic hit? Like, did you have it in your mind a year, 6 months before, or maybe like the moment it happened, March 13th, you're like, I gotta do something new.
So, so the way I launched everything online was very much due to the pandemic. So I started calling myself a sex educator and like I registered for a business number and everything in 2018. And that's when I was like, okay, this is great, balls rolling. I've got people to talk to. They're inviting me one on one to do some coaching. And then the pandemic hits, and I was like, fuck, I can't see anybody else right now. And there's no way that I can go to their houses and like chat. So I was like, okay, the next best thing is to go online. So I launched my website on Squarespace, and I was like, okay, this is great. People like reading my stuff. I've also been getting requests for people who want to hear me talk about this. So I was like, oh, cool. Started doing research on how to do a podcast or how to launch one. And I just haven't stopped. People apparently value the garbage that I keep spewing online, but yeah, and I just keep giving them the content, and the support that I'm getting from fans is just like
Yeah,
I'm
immaculate.
eternally grateful for it.
And it was right off the jump, I guess. Like the moment you started posting, people were just loving it.
Yeah, I got a lot of like, laughs and good reactions. And then, every now and then I'll get the conservatives and the
Yeah.
Christians who are like, this is a sin. How dare you? And it's just like, I don't know, go get fucking laid for all I care. You don't have to consume my content. Like, fuck,
Yeah, exactly. No.
chill.
What about misinformation? I'm sure some people come to you and they ask you questions or queries, and it's like not at all what the situation is.
I like to make fun of people who deliberately give misinformation. So, like, I've been on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. Don't force me to call
Yeah.
it X. Fuck you. I've been on Twitter, and there have been some really egregious, like, claims on sexual activity. Like, there was this one tweet that was like, if a man ejaculates, part of his cerebral fluid goes along with it. And I was like, what the fuck are you
Yeah, what the fuck
talking
does
about?
that mean?
Where does the vas deferens connect to your spinal fluid? Like, shut the fuck up. And then there's this one other girl, and she's like obviously a white lady who's scamming people, and she's got like over 138,000 followers on Instagram. I don't know, but she claims that like in order for you to have a strong vagina, you must be able to lift an entire cinder block, and it's like that's
Yes.
not the sign of a healthy vagina. And also, she's putting jade eggs up her pussy, and I was like, that's porous. That is a breeding ground for bacteria. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
Don't like,
it only cleans itself to a point. Like,
yeah, right. But like, even then, all you need is water, ladies. Like, just fucking squirt some water up there and you'll be fine. But when it comes to misinformation, I have to approach it with a certain context. If there is someone out there that's going viral for giving out misinformation, then I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to tear you a new asshole and I'm going to fuck it until it's raw. But if it is someone that is coming to me with like genuine curiosity and just because they didn't know, then yeah, I'm going to come and answer you as earnestly as possible. It's just a matter of context. Like I was just doing a whole class on how to pleasure the penis, and it was bachelorette, and there were like 8 women there, and I would say 7 out of those 8 women, when I gave everyone dildos to practice on and I gave everyone of them a condom, those 7 women were like, how do I put it on? And I was like,
oh no.
fuck, you're all
Yeah.
in your 30s. You're asking me how to put on a condom on a fucking dildo? Jesus Christ. Our
Yeah, like we're
education
really
system has failed us.
working under a rock, buddy. Oh my gosh.
A fucking condom.
Like, okay. My question now, the next one would be, what about like second chances? Do you believe in second chances? Do you think that they're worthy? Do you think people everybody deserves them?
Depends on the context. Second chances for like what, my boyfriends?
Yeah, like the people that you're the partner, long-term partners.
Nah,
You
fuck
know
them.
that.
I wish they're all dead. Okay. So actually, I've only ever had 3 long-term partners, and one of them died because of cancer. So, oh well. But in terms of second chances, I think everyone is deserving of a second chance because I too would like a second chance. However, I've learned that like the gravity of your crime could be like that
Too late.
can, yeah, and I just like I don't want to give you a second chance. Like for example, my second boyfriend cheated on me 3 times, and I was like, all right, I
Yeah,
don't
forget
want
it.
to give you a second chance. And then my third boyfriend broke up with me over text a week after my birthday, and this guy is like 49 years old. I was like, grow the fuck up. I can't
Yeah.
just give you a second chance anymore. However, if people have made a genuine and honest mistake and they're willing to change and they're like, earnest in their apology, then yeah, I think people deserve a second chance.
Yeah, see? So then you kind of have to weed it out, like a hard weed it out. Again, no pun intended. Hey, figure it out basically, and once they do, they do. It is shame on you, for me twice, shame on me kind of situation. So it's
Correct.
like it is.
Exactly.
You had a lot of partners. You've had a lot of times. I read an article called Tim, Jim, and Nikki, and
Wow, that is a long time ago.
deep cut,
Yeah,
and
Jesus.
it's they that relationship. And I read it, I was like, this sounds like a nice relationship, just like it actually like you said. But do you think that like the career gets in the way of a relationship? Your career? Do you think that it gets into?
Um, when it comes to dating, I don't know. It really depends on the person. So when I was an escort and I tried dating, they took a lot of offense to that, and I was like, but it's just work.
Not to mention
So
they came second.
yeah, right. Another sexual pun coming second. Yeah, funny. But my work was like my life, and that's how I had to support myself, and that's how I paid through college. So the boyfriend thing was a little bit lower in my priority list. However, that doesn't mean that I value them less, but they didn't see it that way. So now as a sex educator, um, I don't know if if a person would be willing to date me with regards to how I present myself to the internet, because I do mine a lot of content from my personal life, and I'm very selective of the content, right?
Yeah.
So the person that could be dating me, they're probably scared that I'm gonna spill the tea on the internet and like just talk about our sex life. But I'm not. I am very like chill, laid back. I'm also chronically single, so anyone out there,
Yeah,
if you're
everybody out
looking for
there.
a tight, if you're looking for a tight bottom, hit me up. Sex Ed with Tim. I'll be right here.
I'm right here. I'm here. See, I have to definitely throw out the ball when it comes to it. Make sure everybody actually sees that greatness. But I think maybe one more question. That's for now, anyways, because I know that the part two will be even more interactive. It'll be even more bigger. I actually bought a gift for you, but now I have to wait until later on. I know,
Oh,
right? I
that's so
know.
sweet.
There's a
Thank
thing I
you.
try to do now is always give my guests some type of like parting away so they'll remember the whole story forever.
Oh,
But
that's so sweet, Jamal. Thank you.
if there's one more thing I guess I can say, and this kind of reflects off of my own journey, like having a toxic symbiotic relationship. Let's just say you're with somebody for a very long time, and I mean like years, and slowly they become more toxic, more weird. Man, my question then is, where do you explain that things need to change? How do you
Uh,
explain it?
the moment you feel that the relationship is no longer working, because sometimes relationships just finish. Breaking news, groundbreaking, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're just no longer compatible due to the path of your growth, and it's gonna suck, but you must say that outright. Like, even I told my clients that even if you start to feel that you're no longer attracted to your partner because they gained weight, they changed their hair color or whatever, you're gonna have to be honest. You're gonna put on your big boy panties and say, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. uh I want to change it, I want to work on it. Or you can just be like, this isn't working for me anymore, I would like to go our separate ways. Yeah, but it's not about you, right? That's what I always tell people, that it's never about you, it's about when it comes to ending a relationship and you're like no longer attracted to the person, you're no longer attracted to whatever qualities that have grown from that, you're gonna have to like grow a pair of balls and just say, I this is no longer working for me, and this is just not, like, it's not gonna work anymore. Now, it is about your own personal feelings, right? It's never about the person as a whole. It's just that, for example, if I was dating this guy and he turned out to be a conservative, right? Like, we were politically aligned at the start of the relationship, and now he's like not politically aligned, and be like, I actually value my partner to be in the same sort of beliefs as me, and this isn't working for me anymore, and it's time for us to go our separate ways. Again, it's not attacking the other person, because this is just about protecting my peace and my
Yeah.
sanity. And that's how all breakups should be. It's not like, you fucked this up, you should, and
Yeah,
it's like,
you.
yeah, like, shut the fuck up. It's not about you. It's about protecting myself. Okay? And if that's gonna hurt people all because I protected myself, then that's an issue, not an ish me.
Yeah,
Right?
I like that one. I like that one.
Right? Like, you process the pain and the sadness on your own time. I'm going to be here safe, staying blessed, and booked and busy.
Exactly, and no stress. Like, yeah, I've always been like that. I feel that I need to know that information, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other people also want to know that information because the word toxic nowadays is becoming more prevalent to the point where it's almost like a buzzword. Like it's almost like becoming same thing like water. Oh, I drink water,
Mm,
and you just want to be able to tell people and figure out what the hell is going on essentially through that information.
yeah.
And
Well, Gen Z and Gen Alpha have been on TikTok way too long, and then they're like misusing and weaponizing therapy speak. Like, oh my God, you're gaslighting me. Why did you do that? And it's like, bitch, I just said something wrong that I didn't know was correct.
yeah, it
I'm
was
not
incorrect.
gaslighting you.
I literally, for the longest time, I did not even know what the hell that word even meant. And then people started telling me, "Oh, you're gaslighting, you're gaslighting." Like I think two or three people said it, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what the fuck that word means. I'm just saying what I have to say. Like I'm just
Yeah,
telling you how it is because the truth will set you free, buddy.
exactly.
You don't want to be telling people shit that they don't want to hear, that they want to hear, and then you're putting a veil on top of yourself,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
No longer being the real you, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
I'm so triggered right now. It's like you're just
You're just a
not
little frustrated.
listening.
It
You're
is what
just
it is.
frustrated. You're not triggered. You're frustrated. You're a little annoyed at something. That's not
Yeah.
triggering.
Sit back for a
And
second and relax and be fine.
yeah.
Take a deep breath. That's what I've heard, and that actually
Yeah.
does work. The sit back and
My
then
favorite, my favorite thing to tell people is like take a lap and then come back.
take a lap,
Take a
come
lap.
back.
Take a lap. Take a lap. Just walk. Chill.
Yeah, go away from me. Be away from you. And I'm sure you're gonna think differently in about 2 seconds. Well, when it comes to it, I would love to do a walk, but fuck, we're so the weather out here, buddy. It's just like, what the fuck's going on with this? I luckily passed all the snow, came back right when the snow disappeared, and I was like, well, I guess I did one thing at least right, but
Yeah.
still hanging out in the cold of
Yeah.
Canada.
No, over here in Scarborough, it's like a bunch of like mounds of ice and salt stains everywhere. It's not
Yeah,
pretty.
exactly. It's not pretty to look at. It's like, what am I doing? Take me back. Take me back.
Honestly.
Another great query that I had for somebody that actually asked me. They said casual relationships, but then you think that there's always one person that will get that loving the other first kind of situation. Do you think that always happens, or do you think that it's possible to have a casual relationship, period?
Bro, I'm in like five casual relationships right now. So I like, okay, we are human and feelings cannot be avoided. You know, guess what? That's what happens when we bond with someone. Oh, surprise. But when we start to mix sex and feelings and real romantic like connections, then yeah, it is time to reassess your boundaries. So, for example, in all of my casual relationships, I make it very clear that I am not looking to get attached. I'm not looking to get invested. I don't want anything beyond the physical. And then there's also other casual relationships that I have that are like, hey, you know what? I really enjoy spending time with you in and out of the bedroom. Do you just want to hang out and like grab a drink, watch Drag Race? And it's like totally platonic and nothing has to come from that. It's all about, so casual relationships are about not treating each other so casually, right? It's
Yeah, there's a
treating,
little bit more.
yeah, you like treat each other with respect. And that doesn't mean, you know what? It's not you, it's me, gotta go by. And it's like, like, that's not a way you treat a person. You're treating someone as disposable at that point. You have to treat each other with respect, and that means having to enforce what you are not comfortable with, what you are and are not comfortable with. Like, you know, if he comes up to me and he says, hey, I'm starting to fall in love with you, I'll be like, okay, I do not reciprocate your feelings. I feel like we need to draw some boundaries here if you're okay with that. And if he says no, then
Yeah,
Hasta la
it's
bye bye.
better just to cut it. It's better to cut it now before then just at builds because once it builds, then it's going to be even
Yeah,
hard to separate.
exactly. But again, at the end of the day, treat each other with respect, even if it's casual. That doesn't mean treating each other casually. That means treating each other with respect and the amount of dignity that you would want for yourself.
Yeah, treat on to others a kind of deal. I like that idea of it.
Groundbreaking idea.
Yeah,
Who
I know,
knew that
right?
would work?
It's crazy to think that like that those words should always be expressed and always be told. But sometimes when you say that to somebody, they just don't believe you. And they're just like, no, that's not how it works. This is how it works.
Yeah,
But it's
insane.
just their world that they're in, I guess you can say. Maybe all the partners that they've been with. Maybe it's like another good question would be like, do you think that people make the same mistake over and over again? As in, I date the same person every single time, no matter what problems it is, no matter what problems I keep on having. Essentially, is it like a cerebral thing? Is it in their head, or is it just they're searching for something that they find one thing in that person, and that's all it takes for them to continue going?
I mean, it's a pattern of behavior, right? Like we as people, as humans, we love patterns because patterns mean stability. Patterns mean like the predictability of something, and I know what's going to happen. But when it comes to like dating, and I don't want to call it mistakes. I want to call it more like just you know,
Bob
re-
Ross, happy accidents.
I call it recycling. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, happy accidents. Well, maybe not even a happy accident because, like, at one point, you're gonna have to do some self-awareness and thinking, and just be like, maybe I'm the problem. Taylor Swift. Hi, it's
Yeah,
me. I'm the problem, right? Like, at one point, when all of your relationships have ended badly, there's really one common denominator there, and it's
yeah.
you. So it's time for you to start rethinking how you date and the kind of energy that you attract. Maybe you need to seek a therapist and be like, why am I attracting people that look like my father? Whoop. Well, let's talk there. Right. But yeah, I don't know if there's such a thing as mistakes. I think it's all just learning experiences.
Yeah. Do you think your work is a like a form of therapy? Like it could be a form of therapy?
I have can be therapeutic. I was told, like, back in my escorting days, where somebody had this fantasy and they wanted to replay that fantasy with me in the bedroom in order for them to like shape that memory, because the fantasy had to involve a form of domestic violence, and they wanted me to like do that thing onto them. And it was done in such a safe and controlled way that that my client was able to reshape that memory for them. And I guess the work that I do now can somewhat be therapeutic in the sense that, like, I've helped unlock a new idea for a
Yeah.
couple to try in bed, or they've listened to something on my show and they laughed. And that's really the kind of approach that I want with my work, is that I think laughter is the best kind of medicine. And as cliche as that sounds, I think it's true. When you laugh, you take power away from that thing that makes you insecure. So, yeah, I think the work that I do can be therapeutic.
Yeah, you can just put you into another trance. It's kind of like music, I guess you could say. Like listening to you is like music. You just listen to it and you just get in, you're like, mm,
I
this is
mean,
right.
somebody has told me that they've listened to my podcast specifically because of my voice, because it's got a specific like lilt and bassy quality to it. And they're like, I just masturbated to your voice. And I'm like, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, I guess.
I'm flattered. I didn't want to hear that, but thanks, I guess.
Is this person close? Just another guest
Just
of
another
yours, another
listener.
client? Yeah, another listener.
It was just a listener that slid into my inbox, and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, all right.
Love that.
I kind of think that would be the person that would send you a voice message and say that. They're like, "Hey Tim, just let you know, I beat off to you last night. It was great."
Listen, I welcome those messages. I'm just like, don't expect me to reply
Yeah,
because
reply.
I'll look at it or I'll listen to my emails and shit, but I just don't have the time because I keep getting all of these like problems, right? Like people are writing in for the advice column because they've got problems and everyone is like, Tim, please help me. And I'm like, I'm only one person. I can only do these things for so little
Yeah,
time.
so many
But
people.
thank you so much for the love, everyone. I am just like I'm very much an introvert. I like to be alone.
Have you ever had a client or maybe a guest or anybody like that that maybe even a person that you worked with recently that how do you even say it that you just didn't want to work with? Like at the
Yeah,
beginning, yeah.
all the time. All the time. I've had guests like on my show where it was like pulling teeth out, and that episode is just never going to come out because the conversation was just so dry and so bad. And then there were clients where they had some more outlandish requests that made me extremely uncomfortable. And to give a specific example, there was one guy who wanted me to shit in his mouth. And I, like, no, this is not to shame anyone that's into scat play. What you're into is what you're into. However, when I was called to action and to start pooping on demand, I was like, I can't. I'm a shy pooper.
I didn't
I
even
need,
eat.
yeah, right. So I'm like, do I order a pizza right now and some Taco Bell? And just like, I can't do it. I am shy. I need to be seated on a toilet and with the door closed, not over your mouth and the window wide open for all of Toronto to see.
See, it's fucking them Germans, man. This is what happens. This is what
Yeah.
happens. Like, well, is
Yeah.
there any other crazy epidemics or crazy stories that come to straight to the mind that you're like, yeah, that was also fucked up?
Yeah. I mean, there was one client that wanted me to like uh play as his son because he told me right off the bat that I looked like his son, and I was like, that's not something I wanted to hear.
Yeah, you don't introduce yourself with that. Hi, my name's John. You look just
Yeah.
like my son.
I was like, yeah. I talked to my stripper friends, and they've gotten a lot of guys who say, "Hey, you remind me of my daughter." Ew. Why the fuck would you say that? But anyways, this again, when I was escorting from 19 to 23, I would say yes to anything. I was naive. I was like, I'll do whatever. But this one request stood out to me where he told me that I look like his son, and he wanted to sort of do this scene where I would dress up in Catholic school uniform, come home with a failed math test,
Oh, yeah.
and he would punish me by putting me across his lap and spanking me and then fuck me afterwards. And nothing bad about that. However, it did make me question that. I was like, what is what does this guy think of his own son?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then you have other clients who are like, I want to fuck a dog. And I was like, no,
No, this is
eh,
the wrong country for that.
yeah, no,
This
this
is
is
the
the
wrong
wrong
country to say
reality.
that.
Yeah, because he found out that I have a dog and I love her very much. She's very tiny. And then he just like fixated on my dog. It's like, oh, what's her name? What's her
It's even
breed? How old is
more
she?
worse. Like
Yeah. I
a
was like,
tiny dog.
yeah, yeah. She's like a Jack Russell Terrier mini pincher mix, right? So there's no way in hell that I am going to introduce you to my dog, sir, ever. You can stop it right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. You stop talking about it. Like
Yeah.
I used to have, live with like 7 dogs, and then I used to live with 4 dogs, and husky toy poodles, the whole 9 yards. And so whenever I see those animals, I treat them as family. So like I don't know what goes through a person's head. Similar to like people that think about children like that the same way. It's like what who did this to you? Like who
Yeah.
did this to you really?
Exactly. Like bestiality is not something I can condone as a sex educator because animals cannot consent, right? And then like it's just it's gross. Okay, I know I said that
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
whatever you're cool with or whatever turns you on is your own thing, but I got to draw a line and be like, you know what? You're fucked up.
Yeah,
Seek help. Go find some medication. Stop thinking about fucking animals. And well, I don't know. Gross. Ew.
yeah,
Shoo.
exactly. Maybe we could chat later when you decide that, you want to be normal with
Have
me.
yeah. When you want to be normal and have sex with a person instead of an animal, great.
Exactly. I'm here for you. And that's exactly what we're
Yeah.
trying to do.
Yeah. I should have clocked that when he told me to buy like a dog costume.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like one of those full on mascot costumes.
Yeah,
And I
like
was like,
the furry
yeah. And I
costumes.
thought that he was just a furry. No, it turns out he's into bestiality.
See, I was actually years ago, eons ago now, I was dating one girl that was a furry, but I just couldn't get past that
Ooh.
portion. I just could not get past it. I'm a person that's, very accepting. I'm able, when it's not deranged, I'm like, sure, I could try it out, but I just could not get into like
I'm
opening the
so
closet and doing it.
sorry. Oh my God. The fact that you had to date a furry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was a quick goodbye when it came to it. Once I realized the error of my ways, I was like, well, I realized this is the point of error. I'm fucking out of
Yeah.
here.
No.
I'm out of here.
Cut it out, girl. Ugh. Ugh.
I guess lastly, the only thing I can think of is I was curious to ever see if have you ever decided one day maybe to do like a book. Maybe I'll open up like a portion of your channel that's on like OnlyFans only to make it more explicit, but make it more in.
Let me see. I mean, I have been told that my writing is quite entertaining and people are interested in reading my thoughts and hearing what I have to say. But a book takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. I mean, I could self publish, but it could be down the road. I want to be able to have a better gauge of like, what is it that the fans want to read and want to hear about? And if their demand is like strong enough, if they want a full length book of like either memoirs or short stories or whatever, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right.
We'll see.
Do you have like a way to get feedback? Like what is your go-to way, or I guess the way that people give you feedback the most?
The feedback I've been getting is mostly through Instagram and emails, like nice comments, sliding in my DMs, and just like inbox like questions. And I mean, I appreciate this to all the men that listen to my show, but I don't need your feedback to be the first thing is your dick. Um, yeah,
Just
I
like
get it.
just like women.
Yeah, I'm like I'm getting all these unsolicited dick pics, and like, guess what? I've seen over 2,000 already. Like, what you're gonna post is nothing new. Okay, it's not impressive. It's not even pretty. Like, a penis is objectively a very ugly thing to look at as someone that has a penis and two other penises
Yeah, I'm
beside
just
me.
gonna say that.
It is not like anything I've ever, it's not unfamiliar. It's just stop it. Okay. You don't go out to someone and flash them
Yeah,
unprompted.
exactly.
Fucking gross. But yeah, the
Hey,
feedback I get has been like through Instagram DMs, and they've all been pretty positive.
okay, I like that. I like that. Whenever something bad, anybody gives you a negative comment, anyways, it's more probably them once again. Same fucking girl that's on the bus that was on the bus earlier,
Yeah.
like giving you bad advice. How dare you? How dare you? But
Mm.
I think that's it actually. 100 episodes strong on Sex with Tim. You're now on, I think it's 103 or 104.
I believe I just released my second episode of the fourth season. Yeah, 100, and you know what? Let's call it 101.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Call it
101.
101.
Starting
Yeah.
it fresh. You gonna keep
Yeah.
the same thing? Do you have plans on, are you putting something new in? What do you got in store for us when it comes
I
to
mean,
Sex with Tim?
Sex Ed with Tim has been going on for a year strong, and I've got a lot of guests lined up that are pretty fun. Believe it or not, the fourth season is the first season where I'm going to be interviewing a gay couple from another podcast, which
Wow.
is like weird. Why have I never interviewed a gay couple before? So I'm having them on. I've got, let's see, I have a fantasy, an erotic writer who's also like a sex coach. I've also had a bunch of therapists come on, a dominatrix. I'm really just like going all over the, oh, and also like a urologist proctologist is coming on to talk about how to make your penis stronger. So could be fun.
Yeah, that's an episode for some of my friends, I promise you. I have some of them decide they're like, bro, I'm gonna buy the pill and I'm gonna give it to my girl all night. It's gonna be great. And I'm like, or you can just figure it out because I'm sure doing that now at your age, like I'm 28 and they're just a year or two younger and so on. I'm like, doing any of that now probably isn't the great thing to do for your future. If you're
Mm,
thinking about being with somebody in the future and being able to perform and so on and so forth.
yeah. Or y'all could just listen to Sex Ed with Tim.
Yeah,
And
that sounds like a good idea. Put it on the background, make sure it's playing because I'm sure you're gonna hear something that makes you stop mid thrust and you're like, honey, let's listen. What's somebody has to say?
exactly.
But that's it, I think. I think we're gonna wrap it up from there, essentially. You can catch Mr. Tim Lagman anywhere. Basically, Sex Ed with Tim is you just punch it in on Google. It's super easy. You got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got TikTok, which I haven't seen you post in a very long time.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
TikTok is really just for me to fuck around. It's
Oh
not
yeah, it
even
is.
sex content related. It's just me like having fun.
Yeah, if you want more of Tim, but you want more of his regular life, that's this TikTok is where he's at, I mean, for sure.
Yeah. My
And
Instagram is more active.
absolutely. So then you catch him there. You have him on YouTube as well. Like essentially anywhere you want to have a little bit of Tim in your life, you can get it. And I think that's it for the rest of the day.
Amazing.
All right, Tim.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me,
much, brother.
Jamal. Thank you.
And I hope to see you again in, well, I guess, in the summer.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
Now that everything's over, I gotta ask you a real good question. When was the last time you even clicked that like button? When was the last time you clicked the subscribe button? You gotta do it. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. You doing that brings me up. Me going up makes me being able to be visible for more people. And it allows me to continue doing this because I love to do it. And I just love to talk. And I want to bring more people on. And I want more people to see it. So, once again, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you actually say a little hello, too, in the comment section. Why not?